Okay, welcome to Standard 3, polynomial operations. This actually isn't that hard of a standard, but probably compared to the first two, it's pretty easy, especially this assignment I'm giving here. So, 3x to the third plus x minus 4. In that parentheses is what is known as a polynomial. All that means is you have letters, x's, exponents, numbers, all that. Now make sure every x is covered. That's covered with a 3. That would need to be covered with a 1. And then here's my second polynomial. Again, that's covered, that's covered. What I need to do is add the polynomials together. It's a pretty easy process. Here's what you do. What letter do you have? Write it down. It's x. What's the highest exponent x has? Well, when I look through the whole problem, I can see the second power is as high as it ever gets. So put a second power and then put a blank beside it. Then after that, you write plus blank, and then after x to the second power comes regular x plus another blank. And that blank is for numbers that don't have an x. It always goes x second, regular x, and then a blank without an x. You set that up every time, you're doing good. So go find where we have x to the second power. Well, I have one here, and I have one here. All you do is add the numbers in front together. 3 plus 2 is 5. So put a 5 in there. Now cross those off after they've been added so we can just forget them. Now look for regular x's. I have a positive 1x and a positive 2x. Add them. 1 plus 2 is 2. Okay, cross them out. Now go look for numbers that don't have any x's at all. I have a negative 4 and a negative 3. If it's minus, it needs to be a negative. So I add negative 4 plus negative 3 is negative 7. That's it. Okay, now next one. The letter is C. Its highest power is a 2. Put a blank in front of it. And then blank, and then regular C plus blank. Okay, so again, my C's are all covered. Oh no, this one's not. It would need a 1 here. You need to make sure all the letters are covered. So C to the second. So I have 8C to the second and negative 3C to the second. So I add 8 plus negative 3, which is 5. Then I have regular C. I have it here with negative 4C. I have it here with positive 1C. So negative 4 plus positive 1 is negative 3. And then numbers that don't have C at all, I have a positive 1 and a positive 5. That makes 6. Pretty tough, okay? Now, in all honesty, subtraction does make it a little more confusing, okay? Instead of adding in the middle, you have subtraction. But what you're actually going to do, first off, look at your m's, make sure they're all covered. You make that plus, and then everything after it goes into an opposite mode. So the 3 becomes negative. The minus 2, just switch the minus to a plus. Just plus, not plus negative, though, okay? And the plus switches to a minus, okay? You know, a lot of people do that. They go plus negative. Don't do that, okay? When you're switching the sign, you switch it just from a good old minus to a plus. Okay, so m is the variable. Its highest power is going to be a 2. And then I can fill out the rest of the sentence. So blank, regular m, blank. Okay, so m to the seconds, I'm looking for those. I'm collecting like terms is what this process is called. M to the second, negative 3m to the second. So 10 plus negative 3 gives me 7m to the seconds. Okay, now I look for regular m. I have a negative 7m and a positive 2m. So I just combine those by adding. Negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5. And then I have a positive 2 and a negative 5. Add them together, negative 3. Okay, my next one. 2x to the third minus 5x to the second plus, fill that in with a 1x, plus 2x to the second plus 1x to the third minus 1. So this time we got x, but what's the highest power you have? It's not a 2. The highest power you have is a 3. So x to the third plus blank, and then it'd be x to the second plus blank, and then it'd be regular x, and then plus blank. That's for numbers without x's. So x to the third, I have x to the third here. You just got to open your eyes and look. And I have x to the third here. So I take 2 plus 1, and that's 3. Cross it out. X to the second, I have one here, negative 5. And I have one here, positive 2. So negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Okay, now regular x's. I have this, and I don't have any, that's not a regular x. So all I have is this one, so I just put a 1. And then I have a negative 1. So there we have it. Okay, what's the letter? First off, N. 4, good. Negative 2, positive 2, good. Okay, so that minus sign has to change to a plus. And then that negative becomes positive. That plus switches to a minus, and that minus switches to just a plus, not plus negative. That's not what I'm doing. When you do plus negative, you're not really switching the sign, okay? Not necessarily. Okay, so N is the letter. What's the highest power we see? I see the highest little power is a 2 plus blank N plus blank. Okay, so N to the second. I have a 4 N to the second and a positive 2 N to the second. So I just add 4 plus positive 2, that's 6. After they've been added, cross them out so you don't look them up. Your N, well, no regular N there. Right here's the only one I have. So negative 2, I put negative 2. And then for non-ends, I have a positive 5, a positive 4. That makes 9. Okay, again, make sure your letters are all covered. That would need a 1. So plus, and then the 1 turns negative, and the plus becomes minus. Okay, so minus 10, and that will be a negative 2 then when I add it. So blank M to the second, that's the highest power I see, plus blank M plus blank. M to the second's right here. That's all I have. That's negative 4. If you only have one of them, you just put it down. Regular M's, I have a positive 3 and a negative 1. So positive 3 plus negative 1 makes 2. And then for non-M's, I have a negative 1 and negative 2. That makes negative 3. Okay, and then the last one. Make sure your letters are covered. Covered, covered. Good. So plus, it's got to be negative. That's got to be a plus, not plus negative, just plus. But put plus and walk off. And then minus, okay? So, blank, and then my letters in M. It would be to the second power is the highest, plus blank M plus blank. Okay, so m to the second, nothing there, and right here's all I have, so -2, that has no like term. Regular m, I got a +3 and a +6. That makes 9. Then for non-m's, I have a +4 and a -5. I add those together, and that makes -1. Now, in this assignment, I want to do number 1 with you together, okay? So we have our plus, and my A's covered, good. So blank, and then A, highest power is at 2, plus blank A, plus blank. A to the second, so I have a 5 and 8. So 5 plus 8 is 13. Now here's why I'm doing this with you. Regular A, I don't have any. So what I do is erase that term from the problem. And then -3 plus -1 is -4. Or you can just cross it out. So 13a to the second plus -4. Now again, if a number adds to 0, you can also erase that from the problem. Okay, if you see two things, add them together, you get 0. That may also be erased. Okay, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and